behind it about helping women with invisible illnesses realize that you can still lead a pretty healthy and active lifestyle. It's just not going to be the one that you had envisioned for yourself. But I know it's possible because I did it. I did it till about a year ago, and then everything went to hell. But I'm going to get back there again. I'm really freaking determined. Um, and for me, one of the things, one of the things I need to address to get back on track is my anxiety. It's really interesting. I just started learning. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia quite some time ago, and I went through a crazy thing where I just researched the crap out of it. I was always trying to read stuff. A lot of it I couldn't even wade through. It was so medical jargon heavy, but I tried. I wanted to know what the hell was going on. But then when I got diagnosed with Hashimoto's, I was just like, whatever. But I've started learning about it recently, and oh my gosh, it actually drives a lot of my anxiety, which I found interesting. But let's talk about 5 tips to help you deal with anxiety. This information is from lifehack.org and the Mayo Clinic. Well, first, you may not even understand what anxiety feels like because I realized this is so embarrassing to admit. I realized several years ago that I'm addicted to anxiety. Isn't that freaking crazy? But and when I had the thought, I'm like, that's Courtney, that's insane. That doesn't happen. But I Googled it. I looked it up. And yes, you get addicted to that biochemistry the same way as an adrenaline junkie. It's just not nearly as fun sounding. But it's a similar process. I was so used to being anxious, I didn't even know what it was. I don't know if that really makes sense. I'm completely exhausted, so I'm trying really hard to explain something that's kind of vague. But symptoms, fatigue, sweats, insomnia, yeah, hypervigilance, restlessness, trembling, irritability, irrational racing thoughts. And for me, the biggie, sensation of an irregular heartbeat. Now, I would get a lot of these symptoms going to the airport. I'm an Alaskan. I'm an Alaskan who was blessed with parents who made sure we got outside. That's what we call the lower 48. But they made sure we got outside to see our relatives when we were little. I have flown literally my entire life and I freaking hate it. I hate it. I hate it. And I got to the point where I would start to have anxiety attacks on my way to the airport. But I didn't know. I didn't know what it was because I'd never really thought about anxiety. I didn't know what the hell was happening. And I remember one time specifically, a friend was taking me to the airport and I'm in the passenger seat just externally, I'm very calm and cool, and she has no idea anything's wrong. Internally, I'm losing it. I'm like, oh my God, am I having a heart attack? I shouldn't get on this freaking plane. I finally realized it was anxiety. But here's how you deal with anxiety. Number one, you need to understand this too shall pass. Whatever you're facing, it's just temporary. It's not going to last forever. And odds are, however it turns out, even if it's a colossal disaster, it's not going to change who you are as a human being. Now, don't try to disregard your anxiety because trust me, it just makes it worse. But just accept it, recognize it for what it is, and remind yourself, it's going to be fine. You just have to get through, insert here. For me, I just have to get through this next flight. I just have to get through this next flight. And number two, focus inward. Focus inward. Learn to recognize your personal symptoms, because if you can recognize them the second that they start, you can make sure that you have tools available, like maybe deep breathing works for you, maybe mantras work for you. Having an affirmation in your phone that you can pull up and look at when you're stressed. You want to focus inward so that it's the second you feel those symptoms coming, you can redirect your focus. And I've gotten to where I can, not always, but almost always, really quell my own panic before it gets out of control if I pay attention to the signs. And I always deep breathing, and mantras. I want to know what my mantra is. Y'all gonna laugh, but just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Yes, from Finding Nemo. But learn how to focus inward. Number 3, you need to tell your inner critic to shove it. Nobody is going to be as critical of you as you are of yourself. You need to remember that what you tell yourself, it really does matter. It really matters. So try to keep, if you this is a struggle for you, keep quotes and affirmations handy. Put them on. I've got Bible verses. Okay, that's not a Bible verse. I've got Bible verses on sticky notes. Right, this little desk that I'm using, it folds up. So the doors, I've got Bible verses that I find inspirational on them. But find something that helps you feel grounded, and put a note in your phone or set a timer to go off a couple times a day to remind you to stay grounded and stay positive. And whatever your, just keep swimming. Whatever your thing is, put that where you can grab it easily when you need to. I used to have this was years ago. I had a desk that had like a shelf over the top, so I could tape stuff under it, and people couldn't see it unless you're around in my space, which shouldn't have been in my space. Anyway, it said something like, you don't know what strong is until strong is the only choice you have. And I kept it there because on bad days, on rough days, that was my mantra, to help deal with the anxiety, to help compartmentalize the pain so I could get on with my day. Got to tell your inner critic to stuff it. You have to remember, when you're going into a situation, it's your choice whether you want to feel stressed or empowered. And here's the interesting thing about anxiety. The physiological response that we get from anxiety, think about it. It's the same physiological response that we get when we're excited. So whereas I used to, this is so embarrassing to admit, but whereas I used to approach flying from this perspective of, okay, I have to survive. This is so bad. I have to survive so many takeoffs and landings for a successful trip. Well, what kind of flippin' trip do you think I had when that was my attitude going into it? Now, instead of focusing on all of the things that could go wrong in an airplane, especially these days, let's be real, you know what I focus on? I get to go on vacation. I get to go visit my friends. I get to go to a conference, wherever the hell I'm going. That's what I focus on. It makes a huge difference. I'm choosing to be empowered instead of stressed. Excuse me. Number 4, now this one obviously is not going to have immediate implications, but get healthy. If you have a lot of anxiety issues, you need to get healthy. Exercise, of course, is going to reduce your stress. It's going to build your confidence. It's a great way to burn off anxiety. But you know what? Your nutrition matters too. You want to eat foods that are high in B vitamins, beef, chicken, leafy greens, citrus, and nuts. All those are going to help. I don't know why. I'm not a scientist, but all of those supposedly help with anxiety. You need to fix your sleep, says the woman who hardly ever sleeps. But keep a journal by your bed so that you can get stress and anxiety off your chest before you lay down. Try some yoga, Tai Chi, meditation. All of those things are really good. In fact, you guys can there's so many wonderful bedtime yogas for free. Just get on YouTube and look around. My favorites are Yoga with Adriene and Yoga with Bird. Shut down your electronics. And I'm terrible about this, but shut down your electronics. Now, I will tell you, I talked to a counselor about this once, and I said, okay, I get that you want to shut them down. You don't want the blue light. I totally understand that. I said, but if I can't sleep, I'll grab my phone and I'll pull up a YouTube video, and then I put the phone face down so I'm not looking at it. But I'll listen to it, or I'll put a book on Audible or something. And I said, is that different? And he said, yes, actually, it's very different because you're going into it with a very different mindset. And I'm not going to just sit there and doom scroll because I'm going with a purpose. But you really should shut your electronics down at least 30 minutes before you go to bed. And finally, number 5, don't give your power away. Don't give your power away to anyone or anything ever. Don't give your power away to your fears. Usually what we're afraid of is mostly our ego getting damaged. Well, so the hell what? Your ego's going to get damaged. You're going to trip. You're going to fall. You're going to stumble. That's life. That's nothing to be afraid of. The only thing you should be afraid of is not trying. You need to remember that you cannot control everything. There's a great quote. I wish it was mine, but it's not. God gave me curly hair to remind me that I can't control everything. It's, if you have curly hair, you know that is the perfect quote because it's so true. But you have to learn to let go of things. I cannot control what happens to the airplane when I'm in the air. I had to learn to just let that thought go. I'll tell you what really helped me one time. I was flying back from Anchorage. Excuse me. Um, by the way, it's so freaking dry here. My hands and my arms are thoroughly chapped. Anyway, I was flying back from Anchorage, and it was a smaller plane. So, of course, coming over the range, it was really bumpy. I don't like that. But I'm sitting right across from the stewardess's little jump seat. And I had a meditation on it. I'd sit there and I'd close my eyes. Every time we'd hit a big drop, my eyes would fly open, and I'd look at her, and I'd laser focus on her. And she was knitting, and she was so serene. And I mean, I really felt like everything could have started coming out of the overhead bins and the oxygen mask, and she would have been just that calm. But she honestly really helped me. I don't know why but she stuck with me, and she helped me overcome my fear of flying. But I had to let go of what I can't control. If she wasn't ruffled, I didn't need to be ruffled. I needed to let go of trying to control that because I can't. You need to remember that other people's opinions of you, they don't matter. They only matter if you decide to let them matter. And why? Who gives a shit? If someone doesn't like you, so all that means is it frees up your time and your attention for people that do like you. That's all it means. The only opinion you need to worry about is your own, truly, because you ain't ever going to make everybody else happy. And if you try, you're going to only make yourself miserable. Boy, that's getting off topic. Anyway, 5 tips for anxiety. Number 1, remember that it's going to pass. It's just temporary. You're going to be fine. Number 2, focus inward. Learn to recognize your signs of anxiety and have some tools, deep breathing, mantras, whatever the hell works for you. Have some tools on hand so you can head that shit off the second it starts. Number 3, tell your inner critic to stuff it. What you tell yourself matters. It just does. Number 4, get healthy. Obviously not going to be an immediate solution, but it matters. And really, you should care enough about yourself to make your health a priority, especially if you have a family. But that's just okay, off the soapbox on that one. And don't give your power away. I was giving my power away every time I was facing a flight. I was giving my power away to my fears. Why? Why focus on everything that could go wrong when I could be focused? I could have spent all that time focused on, holy crap, look at all the amazing things I'm going to go do. Look at all the amazing adventures I get to go have. It's a choice. You're either stressed or empowered. Don't forget, it's the same physiological response as being excited. So instead of, oh my God, I'm so anxious, tell yourself, man, I'm so excited. This is going to be freaking awesome. It's that simple. I'm not that complicated. Anyway, that's all I have. I will not be on Wednesday because I'm traveling, actually, at the full endorsement and encouragement of my doctor. I'm going on a trip because it's 30 below zero and it's supposed to get colder, and I don't want to be here. My body doesn't want to be here. So I'm out. So I will not broadcast on Wednesday, but I will be back Friday, but I don't know what time yet. Crap, I didn't think about that. I guess it'll be a surprise.